I hate my life. I hate streaming. I hate socialism. I hate every single fucking person who thinks that the peak of activism is just being the most annoying, holier than thou, the most ultimately woke leftist.
Today is a day that ends in Y, so left-wing streaming star Hasan Piker is losing his absolute mind. We're going to break the latest drama with Hasan down and so much more on today's episode of the Brad vs. Everyone podcast, my daily show where I take on the craziest stories from across the internet and social media, all from an independent perspective. Guys, we have talked about Hasan lately. I know a lot of you guys, this is Hasan Piker, the big left-wing Twitch streamer, internet celebrity, self-described socialist, radical. Anyway, we've talked a lot about him. I'm getting Hasan fatigue. I'm not going to go into more of the allegations about him shocking his dog, although there are some updates on that with the company that makes the collar actually responding to an inquiry and saying that, yes, that does appear to be the shock-capable collar. So his lies and gaslighting aren't adding up. I've also seen pictures of sores and open cuts on his old dog from the kind of collar he was using. So the evidence continues to mount, but that's not even what I want to talk about today. There's a really interesting phenomenon playing out where we saw this a little bit with Dean Withers, the TikTok star who is constantly getting attacked by his own fan base. And now Hasan is starting to fight with his diehard fans and crash out on them because even he, as left-wing as he is feeling suffocated by their kind of identity politics and wokeness. You know it's bad when it's too much for Hasan Piker, right? Anyway, he made some sort of point about Zohran Mamdani and everyone coming together to support the socialist revolution or whatever, and he started getting lectured by people in his chat about how he didn't understand black women or something. And then he had a little crash out on camera. Let's take a look.
Clown take. Can you shut the fuck up when it comes to black folks? You really don't want to talk about us unless it comes from voting. When is the last time you spoke about Sudan? I'm going to ether you. Any other black folk want to engage in radical activist language in this fucking chat?
Guys, just pause for a second in case you're just listening. He just banned this person permanently from his chat, I believe. And they had been a longtime supporter. So he's really fed up after this person told him to stop. You don't understand black people's perspective or whatever the typical woke talking point is. Yeah, he didn't take that well. Imagine just like banning longtime paid supporters of yours because they say one thing you don't like. I would not do that, but hey, that's just me.
Chat, suck my fucking okay? You stupid fucking radlib. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of my chat. You think you have a pass in here to fucking speak like this? Get the fuck out of here. You think I'm gonna fucking baby you? Go ahead. Go post a fucking clip about how much of a fucking white supremacist I am. Suck my dick. Annoying, dumb. God damn, dude. This kind of attitude is so insanely repulsive. Like, what the fuck do you think?
This is funny to me because holy crap, he is crashing out. Guys, I had to edit this clip beforehand and censor out all the expletives so my videos don't get demonetized. Talking about this, he went off. I understand that's part of Hasan's aesthetic is like, oh, I'm like a dirtbag leftist. I'm not PC, whatever. But this was overboard. And it does give a little bit unstable when just one annoying, and I admit it's an annoying and dumb comment. You don't understand black people's perspective. Yeah, of course, everyone has different perspectives and your identity doesn't determine your perspective. And there is no one common black people perspective. But two things. One is that allowing it to affect you this much and crashing out on stream like this just shows, I think, that you're not in control of your emotions. And then two, I mean, you specifically cultivated a base of online leftists as your diehard audience that you've made millions from, and then you're surprised that they're insufferable and woke. What else did you expect, sir? Are you new here? Did you not know the type of people that you were engaging with and getting to join your community? Because it seems to me like he was happy to exploit these people and build up his fan base with them and make himself millions and make himself this important political figure, all based off of their attention and fandom. But he's actually despised them all along. Anyway, I'm going to show you more of this clip because there's a couple interesting twists to it as well after this. AI is the future, especially for content creators. And today's sponsor, Opus Clip, is the most powerful growth tool ever built for creators. Its amazing clipping and automated editing services are used by top creators from Jubilee to Tom Segura to, of course, yours truly. One recent Jubilee clip made with Opus Clip actually got 52 million views on X.
They're not 100% safe. Nothing in life is 100% safe. Driving or walking here today is not 100% safe. I could have a heart attack right now. Cannot predict it. But what we can do is try to do the best that we can with the information that we have.
Opus Clip has helped people reach new audiences, drive views to long-form content, make a splash on TikTok, get started on YouTube, and so much more. Don't get left behind. To start your content journey today, check out the link in the description and get a week free of Opus Clip Pro and then 3 months at 50% off. Only available now at the link in the description. Now back to today's show. All right, let's keep watching here.
Do you think you're doing? We're talking about creating a larger, broad, people-backed movement and creating solidarity, and you immediately got root.com article regurgitators in here instantly being like, sweetie, you don't understand black people. Shut the up. That attitude left a long time ago. It doesn't work, okay? Keep advocating for your own demise then. Standpoint theory ass motherfuckers. Oh my God. Every time this shit pops off, there's like a million people in the chat being like, actually, we're not rocking with those folks because they're not rocking with us. Like, I get it, dude. Okay, yeah, you want to be selfish. Okay, fine. Who cares?
So there's a lot there. He is very clearly saying that actually it's not just this one commenter. It's a lot of his chat that engages in this kind of identity politics that he hates. And it doesn't surprise me, actually, that he hates this kind of identity politics, because true socialist leftists usually are more concerned with class warfare and Marxism, and they don't care so much about the kind of social progressive identity politics stuff. They even sometimes view it as counterproductive or distraction from like the class war and destroying rich people and successful entrepreneurs and all that. And so it doesn't shock me that he feels that way at heart. But it is fascinating to see him basically say, yeah, most of my audience is insufferable and terrible, or huge portions of my chat are just succumb to identitarian brain rot. But there's no accountability for the role he has played in contributing to that by spoon feeding these people woke propaganda for years. I mean, he has engaged in all sorts of, parroting and guests and running videos and clips that all push the identity stuff a fair amount. And then he's going to be shocked, and he's pandered to all these groups. And then he's going to be shocked that those people comprise his fan base. 2 + 2 = 4. Babe, I don't know what you expected, but it is funny to hear him. And I kind of agree with him. That's the weirdest thing. I'm listening to this rant and I'm like, I would never be that vulgar, but, and you're a little bit of a hypocrite, but you're not wrong. Like, he's trashing on standpoint theory, which is what refers to kind of a progressive or woke kind of academic viewpoint or perspective that says that your perspective is determined and shaped by your identity and where you stand from. And I think it's bullshit, right? I think your identity or what boxes you check off on the census do not determine your perspective. And I think people who check off all the same boxes can have drastically different perspectives, because it's really more your experience and values, not your immutable traits, that determine it. But he's just like crapping on left-wing dogma now. And that's just an interesting development. But he really does seem to hate the situation he's found himself in. And it's fascinating to see, because he has a life that most people could only dream of just sitting in his chair and watching clips and eating food on camera and making millions of dollars and living in a massive mansion. But he seems so unhappy, and he seems to so despise the fan base he's cultivated. It's really remarkable. And as these scandals continue to catch up with him, because when you build a fan base of like neurotic, radical woke scolds, you then can't be shocked when they treat you as if they are neurotic, radical woke scolds. And even not neurotic or not woke scolds, but just people who get upset with legitimate things, like how he's mistreated his dog. But he is now really, really spiraling and crashing out. And it's remarkable to see. I'm going to show you a second clip here where he loses his mind. And we're going to take a look at that. But first, do make sure you're subscribed, hit the like button, comment, yada, yada, yada. Please do send in your voicemails for my Voicemail Friday episodes where I react to your woke horror stories. I give you personal life advice and I answer questions that you guys have for me. The link to send in one of those is in the description. And if you enjoy my nonpartisan commentary, the way I criticize the left and the right, please do consider becoming a channel member because it's so much harder to just build up a big audience when you actually are independent and a critical thinker. So huge thanks to the channel members that already are signed up, and please more do sign up if you are able to. Now let's look at this second clip from Hasan where he really is losing his mind on camera just over and over again. It's remarkable stuff. Let's look.
I can't stand any of you dumb in this goddamn chat. Oh my God, I hate the left. I hate liberalism. I hate everything that's going on every single day of the goddamn week. I hate my life. I hate streaming. I hate socialism. I hate every single person who thinks that the peak of activism is just being the most annoying, holier than thou, the most ultimately woke leftist. You did it. You have unlocked a nihilism within me, okay? I am black-pilled. Nothing will ever get better. We are never going to make it out. We can't even have a normal, non-hostile goddamn conversation on any of these issues. Everybody just simply wants to chirp into the wind because they have no power and they recognize their utter powerlessness in the face of unjustifiable constructs that we exist under. And the best possible thing you can do is just be goddamn annoying, okay? I 100% think you should.
And so now we get to a really interesting part where you're wondering, right? Maybe Hasan is upset because outsiders are coming in to troll him or whatever. But no, he hates his own audience. And he even says the people he hates the most are his long-term supporters. Listen to this.
I 100% think you should someday go on sub-only mode. What do you mean? The most annoying people are literally like the 40-month subscribers. The person that caused me to spiral just now is Hidejo Offliner or whatever. And that is like a routine nuisance and an offliner in this community. Okay? He is a consistent voice of nuisance. Okay? What are you talking about? The people that actually brick me, the people that actually cause me to spiral out of control are always the people that have been in this community for years, who never shut the up.
So I find this hilarious, and I have to admit that his tears are kind of delicious. But Hasan is currently in the finding out stage after effing around for so many years of cultivating a radical left-wing fan base, and now even he can't stand these people. And that's why I've said this before over the years. I'm so grateful that I started in conservative media and then have moved more towards the center more, because if you had ever tried to stay in the good graces of kind of left-wing, woke online consumers and viewers, or even in a mainstream media company, it must be exhausting constantly trying to stay in their good graces. And then no matter how hard you try, it's never going to work because they're so neurotic and so obsessive and constantly microanalyzing everything. But this is what you signed up for. So I don't know what to say to Hasan other than enjoy the bed, lying in the bed that you made for yourself, and maybe try logging off for a while. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Make sure to subscribe, like, yada, yada, yada. Now we got to check in on TikTok because, shocker, they're being unhinged over on the Clock app again on TikTok. And this time there's a alleged comedian who just made a video bashing JK Rowling that I guess maybe I just missed the funny part. I don't know. You guys will have to let me know if you've picked up on the funny part, but I did not. This alleged comedian's name is Margaret Chow. I'd never heard of her, but apparently she's of some note. Let's listen to her rant about JK Rowling.
Shut up, JK Rowling. Shut up. You're a joke. That's why your name is JK, because you are a joke.
I'm sorry, I just want to pause there for a moment. You're like a professional comedian, and the level of your roast of JK Rowling is, your name is JK, because that sounds spelled kind of like joke. Ha.
Your anti-trans rhetoric makes me sick. You are despicable. I hope that when you face menopause, you have to take a lot of gender-affirming care, as I do. And when you're taking these hormones, they make your pubes grow out so thick and hard. It's like,
what? That is so weird. I already was pausing this because I wanted to talk about how ridiculous it is to compare like medical treatment that a woman needs for her natural biological process of menopause. Also, love how you're the feminist, but we're now menopause shaming women. It's almost like you're acknowledging there's a biological aspect to what being a woman is. But anyway, as if that's the same as gender affirming care. It isn't. One is a totally different kind of treatment. One treats a natural process that happens because of your biology. The other is an unproven, basically experimental treatment for a psychological condition that is meant to actually contradict your biology and imitate the biology of the other sex. I'm not saying that's wrong. I've always been fine with adults doing that, but it really annoys me when they conflate gender affirming care with like literally any medical treatment that affects your body. They're not the same thing, and it's just so disingenuous. And then why are you ranting about JK Rowling's private area? This is unhinged. I'll just let her finish up doing her big one though.
Art, it's like steel wool. And if anybody goes down to eat it, they get a face full of scars. I hope they start calling you barbed wire. Shut up, JK Rowling.
Did I just like miss the funny part? I don't know. Is the comedian in the room with us? Because nothing about this woman is funny. She just made me slightly nauseous and made herself seem unhinged. I don't know. I don't agree with everything JK Rowling says about trans issues. She's certainly taken a rather hardline view, though again, it's kind of hard to begrudge her that given how she's been treated by much of the activist crowd. But 0 points were made here. Yet the comment section on her original video is all just people being like, yes, queen, you ate her up. You didn't at all. And this kind of discourse only makes the trans activist side seem unhinged and radical and out of touch. As did, and this is a related story that's been all over the internet that I have been meaning to talk about but just haven't gotten to yet, as did kind of the response when an actress, Keira Knightley, who is involved in some kind of upcoming Harry Potter show, was asked about the controversies involving JK Rowling and seemed to laugh off the question, causing people online to lose their ever-loving mind. Here is Keira Knightley and the clip that's gotten her so much hate.
I saw you're voicing Professor Umbridge in the new Harry Potter audiobooks. I was wondering, are you aware that some fans are calling for a boycott, given JK Rowling's ongoing campaign against trans people?
I was not aware of that, no. I'm very sorry. I think we're all living in a period of time right now. We're all going to have to figure out how to live together, aren't we? And we've all got very different opinions. So I hope that we can all find respect.
See, I think she just makes sense here. She's saying she's not endorsing JK's beliefs. She did laugh at the concerns that people have because, frankly, they're kind of ridiculous. You want to boycott this show that has nothing to do with trans issues, and JK is only tangentially related to it, and their whole line is, oh, well, if you support that show, you're funding anti-trans groups or whatever, which is nonsense because JK already has unlimited money. So she can already give however much she wants to give to whatever campaigns or causes. It has nothing, if she makes a little bit more money from this show or not, it has no impact whatsoever. So you're just boycotting an unrelated show that will bring people joy, that people love, for no real reason. And yeah, she's kind of right to laugh at you, actually. But of course, I think you can imagine. And then her message about how we just all have to get along is a good one. That's the approach we need to take. As society gets more polarized and more divided, we do need to coexist and get along. And God forbid somebody say that with a laugh. But you can imagine how this went over online. I'll read you some posts that were written on Blue Sky about Keira Knightley after this. Possibly one of, if not the worst response I have seen from anyone involved in the Harry Potter franchise. WTF was that laugh about? It was probably just an awkward laugh because she was surprised. What kind of cis white privileged bullshit is that? F off. Get in, loser. We're canceling Keira Knightley. The effing laugh. WTF. Oh, the fury inside of me right now. Oh, wow, Keira Knightley effing sucks. WTF of that. F Keira Knightley. F her into the sun. Keira Knightley can get effed, and I'm being far more respectful to her than she is to trans people. wow, I went from having no opinions of her or barely knowing about her to knowing that she is a disgusting person. Wonderful. I hope somebody strews Legos on every path she will ever walk. These people seem stable. They seem normal and well-adjusted. All she said was, we're going to have to all learn to live together despite our different opinions. They're like, evil Nazi scum, terrible, evil human. Y'all might actually be the bad guys. I don't know how to explain that to you, that you might be the bad guys. But yeah, anytime Harry Potter or JK Rowling is involved in any online conversation, good money is on that it's going to get unhinged very quickly. And that has been the case with Keira Knightley. It's all over TikTok as well, people putting out videos dragging her. I personally don't think she did anything wrong at all. And I think everybody needs to get a grip and accept that, yes, we are going to have to learn to live to get along with each other, even if other people's feelings hurt your fifis. The horror. They still have a right to have whatever opinion they have, and you don't get to bully or shame them into silence. Not anymore, folks. Not anymore. That's my take on all this, but you guys let me know in the comments what you think. One final story we got to talk about today. More insanity from the far-right fringe getting exposed, and this time it's somebody who's actually been nominated to a position in the Trump administration. Oh, good. Let's listen to a clip from CBS News breaking down new reporting from Politico on Paul Ingrassia and his seedy group chats. Once again, it's the group chats getting exposed here, folks, that have just been reported on. Let's look.
Another text message controversy for Republicans, this one involving the president's nominees, one of them anyway. What can you tell us about it?
Paul Ingrassia, President Trump's pick to run the Office of Special Counsel, which is the operation that investigates whistleblower and discrimination complaints. Ingrassia is now facing a storm of criticism over alleged controversial text messages. Politico reported yesterday that he sent racist messages to a group chat saying, among other things, that the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday should be, quote, tossed into the seventh circle of hell, and that he has a, quote, Nazi streak. Ingrassia does have a Senate confirmation hearing scheduled for Thursday, but several Republican senators have already signaled they are going to vote against him if that happens. And last night, the majority leader, John Thune, says that he hopes the White House will just pull Ingrassia's nomination because he says he is not going to get confirmed.
Well, that's for shit, sure. He already wasn't going to get confirmed, by the way. I mean, we'll get into it, but this guy has actually said far worse things than this, in my view, though these things are pretty bad. And these really, you have to understand, it's not just jokes. It's not just memes. I am all about a little bit of edgy and offensive humor, but even the other Republicans in this group chat, when he said, Paul Ingrassia said, I have a little bit of a Nazi streak in me, they did not think he was joking. Based on the context, they genuinely believe that he means that. And when you look at his public commentary, a lot of it is espousing fascist ideas, like extremely authoritarian, far-right, anti-American sentiment. So, yeah, I think he does have a Nazi streak, and I think that's absolutely disqualifying. I mean, I don't agree with his hate for MLK or some of the things he said about Indian people or other things, and frankly, I mean, we could have a whole conversation about that. But if you're a loyal listener to this podcast, you might actually remember this guy because I covered him months ago when he was first nominated. And I said that he belongs nowhere within 1,000 freaking miles of the White House or the administration because of his public comments. So for me, everyone's like, oh, talking about this is like the big story on political Twitter right now. Everyone's talking about this leaked group chat. Will this doom him? He already should have been doomed. Okay, he never should have been nominated. He should have been revoked a long time ago, just on the basis of everything that was already publicly known about him. I mean, this is a guy who says he thinks women shouldn't be able to vote, which I think is disgusting. I think just tells you that he doesn't view them as equal humans. He doesn't care about taxation and representation. And he actually said, and this one is slightly funny to me if meant as a joke, but again, it was meant unironically by this crazy dude who, by the way, I'm sorry, I wouldn't normally say this, very unnerving, his appearance, very unnerving. He said that the descendants of slaves should actually have to pay reparations to slave owners. So not like the typical woke idea of reparations that I always am against and criticize, but the reverse. And that's just like diabolically crazy. I don't even know what to say to that. But yeah, this dude is crazy. And for more reasons than that. So here's a public statement from his X feed just in 2023. When Trump gets back into office, he should remove his 3 Supreme Court picks and replace them with true loyalists. That is an unhinged thing to write, by the way. If you think the Supreme Court's job is to be a loyalist to a partisan politician rather than uphold the frickin' law and Constitution. And I think the people he appointed, I don't always agree with them, but I think all 3 of them are qualified, respectable jurists with integrity. Anyway, he says he went on this rant about how they should have he should replace them, which, by the way, he has literally, there is no mechanism in our Constitution or our system of government that would allow Trump to do that. So he would have to just go full dictator mode and, I don't know, order the military to arrest them or something. So this dude is psycho. And somebody replied to him and said, no, I don't agree and I support Trump. It's not about picking loyalists. They need to be true constitutionalists. To which this dude replied, Trump is the Constitution, which is obviously not true, but is kind of a pretty nakedly fascistic or fascist sentiment, because what you're saying is like, our strong leader is the law unto himself. So you're essentially saying at that point that he is a king and he can just do whatever he wants because he is the law. So from all of this, from this guy's, also his association with shady people like Andrew Tate, I said a long time ago that this dude was a nut job who belongs nowhere near the federal government. And it's such a total failing of basic standards of vetting and decency that he would ever have been appointed in the first place. I mean, the Trump administration is sometimes they're putting up qualified people, but sometimes they're just putting up like fans or people that have been loyal to them, despite them having no actual competence or qualifications, and sometimes despite them being like insane, crazy people. I mean, this dude belongs in a padded room. He does not belong in the Oval Office. But I do find it funny how like these group chats might sink him. Obviously, I think what he said in the group chats is gross, but it's like, how is this even still a conversation? How is this still even relevant? How is he ever going to get a single vote in the Senate? I think some of these Republican senators would have actually just nodded along and voted for him because they are that cucked. They are actually that scared of Trump. They'll just do whatever he says, whatever nominee he puts up, they'll vote yes for. And that is not how our government is supposed to work. It's totally great if they were pro-Trump, they agree with Trump's agenda, and they're going to support it, mostly because that's what they were campaigned on and were elected to do. But they're still supposed to serve as a check and balance and apply their own critical thinking and logic and skepticism and scrutiny to Trump's picks. They're not supposed to just be doormats for daddy. But that's what many of these Republican senators have turned into. And I mean, look, I guess I'm glad there's like 5 or whatever that are going to sink this guy's nomination. But the fact that he wouldn't get 0 votes is like such a damning indictment of everything that's going on inside the Republican Party, where it seems like standards are just out the window. Anything goes. Because, you know, like there was so much cancel culture and hypersensitivity and wokeness that now actually anything is fine. That's actually also bad. That's also a recipe for dysfunction and disaster. You still have to have some standards when it comes to who's running the federal government, which is just, I don't know, the most powerful organization to ever exist in all of human history. No big deal. NBD. Who cares if you have a little Nazi streak or think women shouldn't vote or think, you know, the king can just remove Supreme Court justices and report them with loyalists and he is the Constitution. Like, am I going insane? Well, I think I went insane a long time ago, honestly, covering politics in this country, but I can't be the only crazy one who thinks that no matter if you're MAGA, if you're Republican, whatever your beliefs are, this person should have never been nominated, and his nomination should have been revoked a long time ago, before any of these group chats. That's my take on it, at least. But I want to hear from you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe. Yada, yada, yada. And with that, guys, that'll be it for this episode of the Brad vs. Everyone podcast. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Please do rate and review the podcast if you're listening on audio podcast platforms. Send in your voicemails for our Voicemail Friday episodes. And we'll talk again real soon.